Hi there, it's me, Leo. We're so glad you're here because we've got a mission to learn, and we need your help.
Yeah, it's totally awesome. We're going to learn all about the composers and artists from our adventures.
Plus, we'll learn lots of other fun facts about the places we went and the friends we made. Yeah, remember when we helped Mommy Reindeer find her baby? In Mission to Learn, we'll find out more about reindeers, the Arctic tundra, and snowy owls.
So what do you say? Are you ready? Great! Buckle your seatbelts and click on the Let's Go button to start our mission.
Episode titles start. Annie's solo mission.
When Georges Bizet's 27 songs that made up the L'Arlésienne suites were first performed, the music critics didn't like what they heard, but today it is one of Bizet's most famous compositions.
Gustav Klimt didn't just use gold and silver in his paintings. Klimt started designing jewelry in the early 1900s, around the same time he painted Expectation. Most lakes are full of fresh water, but the water in Utah's Great Salt Lake is actually saltier than the ocean. In fact, you could go swimming in the Great Salt Lake without an inner tube, and the salt water alone would keep you afloat. Even though all bubbles eventually pop, there are ways to make them last longer. The next time you blow bubbles, do it in the shade, just after the sun sets or right after a rainfall. You'll be surprised at how long they'll stay afloat. Gustav Klimt painted Expectation in 1905. The same year, the Pennsylvania Railroad launched the fastest train in the world. The train went from New York City to Chicago in just 18 hours.
Georges Bizet published his famous compositions, the L'Arlésienne suites, in 1872, the same year that the Metropolitan Museum of Art opened in New York City.
France may not have the Grand Canyon, but it does have the Verdun Gorge. The beautiful gorge was carved out of the Verdun River, and it is the deepest gorge in all of Europe.
Back.
Get ready. Let's go. Annie's solo mission. Art by Gustav Klimt.
And
Music by Georges Bizet.
Big brother Leo is going to teach me how to fly a rocket. There are lots of tricks to learn. Do you want to learn the flying tricks with me? Great!
Welcome aboard! Have a seat, Annie.
But Leo, that's your chair.
That's right. For your flying lesson, you get to sit in my chair.
Wow. Thanks, Leo.
Okay, here's your first flying trick. If you want to make Rocket jump up and down over something, you have to reach your arms up really high and then bring them down fast. Like this. Reach, up, down, up, down.
Try it with me. Reach, up, down, up, down.
Yeah, that's it. Hi there, it's me, Leo. We're so glad you're here because we've got a mission to learn, and we need your help. Yeah.
Episode title starting with the letter A to E. The birthday balloons. Henri Rousseau painted with over 50 different kinds of green paint in the Merry Jester to make the jungle look extra tropical and lush.
Will an iceberg growl at a polar bear? Maybe. Small icebergs are called growlers because when chunks of ice melt off, the iceberg makes a growling sound.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's father was a well-known music teacher and composer in Europe, but he stopped working to focus on Mozart when he realized how musically gifted his son was. Mozart was only 3 years old at the time. Back.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's Eine kleine Nachtmusik is also called a little night music or a little serenade. It is believed that more people in the world have heard this song than just about any other song ever written.
There's a good reason why penguins hang around in big groups. They huddle together to protect themselves from the cold Arctic air, taking turns being on the inside of the pack so everyone gets a chance to be toasty warm.
Serenade is another word for music that's written and played for someone special, and most of the time, serenades are played outdoors in the nighttime. Mozart's serenades are some of the most famous.
Back.
When a balloon gets released into the air, it will float more than 5 miles high in less than 2 hours before it finally pops. That's as high as Mount Everest.
Like many of his paintings, the animals in Henri Rousseau's The Merry Jester act like people. In this painting, the monkeys are playing with back scratchers and a milk bottle.
Get ready. Let's go. Shh, shh, shh. The Birthday Balloons. Art by Henri Rousseau.
And
Music by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Hi, I'm Annie, and today is my birthday. Yay! Happy birthday to to come to my birthday party. My brother and my friends are helping get ready. See, June is putting up the streamers. Quincy is helping with the noisemakers. And my brother Leo is helping too. He's putting icing on my cake. I love birthdays. But do you want to know what my favorite thing about birthdays is? It's balloons! I love balloons. I love balloons. I love balloons. I love balloons.
Hey, Annie, I got you a present.
Balloons! Yay! Thanks, Quincy.
You're welcome.
I got you a present too, Annie. More balloons!
Hi there, it's me, Leo. We're so glad you're here because we've got a mission to learn. The birthday machine.
Johann Sebastian Bach wrote his Brandenburg concertos for the noble Christian Ludwig, who lived in a region of eastern Germany named Brandenburg.
The Laurentian Library, designed by Michelangelo, is home to more than 11,000 manuscripts, including ancient writing by the philosophers Sophocles and Plato.
While Michelangelo is best known for his sculptures like David and his painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, he is an architect too. In fact, he designed the unique architecture for the Laurentian Library in Florence, Italy.
A concerto is a musical composition that features one main instrument while an orchestra plays along in the background. Each of Johann Sebastian Bach's 6 Brandenburg concertos features a different instrument.
The artist Michelangelo Buonarroti, more commonly known as simply Michelangelo, was born in 1475, exactly 300 years before the American Revolution began. Construction for the Leaning Tower of Pisa started in 1173. But it took nearly 200 years to finish. It wasn't supposed to lean, but only a year after construction started, the tower in progress began to tilt. Let's go. Shh. The birthday machine. Art by Michelangelo Buonarroti.
And
Music by Johann Sebastian Bach.
hi, I'm Quincy, and these are my friends, Leo, June, and Annie. We're all helping our friend Rocket clean up his room. Do you ever help clean up? Great!
Wow, Rocket, you have lots of cleaning tools. You've got a dust-o-matic and a window washer.
And a zoomer broomer.
Okay, Rocket. Are you ready to start cleaning? Ready? Set.
Go! Look at him clean! Go, Rocket!
Now all he has to do is dust his books. Rocket found something. Some kind of drawing. Awesome!
Wow!
Cool.
Interesting.
It's a drawing of a machine.
Hi there, it's me, Leo. We're so glad you're here because we've got a mission to learn.
A brand new outfit. Caterpillars create chrysalises when they're ready to turn into butterflies, and they'll stay in their cocoon-like home for around 2 weeks before coming out to spread their new wings. Vincent van Gogh painted his painting Wheat Field with Cypress Trees in 1889, the same year that pizza was invented.
Back.
Ode to Joy by Ludwig van Beethoven is loved all over the world. It has been played in almost every Olympic opening ceremony since 1956. And in 2003, the European Union even made the song its official anthem.
Vincent van Gogh is a pioneer of the Expressionism movement in art. He painted his masterpiece, Wheat Field with Cypress Trees, while living in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence in France.
Ludwig van Beethoven's Ode to Joy comes from the Symphony No. 9 in D minor, Opus 125, which is the last symphony he ever composed. Even though he was almost completely deaf by the time he finished writing it, it is one of his most famous pieces.
Caterpillars love to eat leaves, but when they're born, they're so hungry that they literally eat themselves out of the eggs they were hatched from.
Back. Katsushika Hokusai painted his famous painting Under the Wave off Kanagawa around 1831, the same year that the lawnmower was invented in England.
Video. Let's go. A brand new outfit. Art by Vincent van Gogh, Katsushika Hokusai,
And
Music by Ludwig van Beethoven. Hi, I'm Leo. Welcome aboard.
Hello.
Rocket says hi. Say hi, Rocket. I don't think he heard you.
Hi, Rocket.
Rocket, why did you stop?
Rocket's listening to something. It's a pretty song. But where is the song coming from? I have an idea. Let's use the look and listen scope. The singing, it's coming from the wheat field with cypresses. Come on, let's go see who's singing that song. Ready, Rocket? Rocket, away!
Hi there, it's me, Leo. We're so glad you're here because we've got a mission to learn.
Episode title starting with the letter A to E.
Brothers and sisters to the rescue.
The familiar first four notes of Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 are da-da-da-dum, which is actually Morse code for the letter V. During World War II, the BBC used the musical notes to stand for victory. Much of German folk art involved creating things out of wood, such as furniture, carvings, and even toys. In fact, before it became a big business in the U.S., toy making was a traditional form of German folk art.
The famous Alta Brücke Bridge in Heidelberg, Germany, was built in the late 1100s. When it was first built, it was made of wood, but after it was ruined by floods and fires several times, it was finally rebuilt with stone in 1786.
When German folk artists first came to America in the 1600s, many settled in Pennsylvania, where they continued their artistic traditions and created a new form of Pennsylvania Dutch folk art.
Back.
Perhaps the Black Forest is best known for being the home of the cuckoo clock. German folk artists hand-carved the cuckoo clocks out of wood and then painted and decorated them to look ornate.
Ludwig van Beethoven's Symphony No. 5 took more than 4 years to write, and when it was presented to the public for the first time in 1808, the performance took more than 4 hours.
Though Hansel and Gretel was written in the early 1800s, it still remains one of the most famous fairy tales in the world. The Black Forest is the name of a forest in southwestern Germany, and the region is known for its Black Forest ham, honey, and delicious Black Forest cake.
Brothers and sisters to the rescue! Art. German folk art.
And music.
Symphony No. 5, written by Ludwig van Beethoven.
Hi, I'm Annie. And guess what? My big brother Leo just brought me a new book to read.
This book has a story about a brother and sister, just like us, Annie.
I can't wait to hear it. Do you want to hear the story too? Great! Leo, will you read it to us?
Sure. This book is called The Musical Adventure of Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time, there was a brother and a sister named Hansel because they'd always leave a trail to remember the way back home. One day, they left a trail of breadcrumbs. Another day, they left a trail of pebbles. But today, they left a trail of music notes. They're walking deeper and deeper into the woods.
Episode title starting with the letter A to E. The Christmas Wish.
The Champs-Élysées in Paris used to be nothing but fields and gardens, but it was replaced with a tree-lined pathway more than 300 years ago. Today, that pathway has turned into one of the most famous streets in the world.
Vincent van Gogh was an art dealer and a preacher before he started painting. But once he started, he stayed busy. He painted around 3 paintings every week.
When Vincent van Gogh was painting The Starry Night, he was trying to paint a masterpiece that was as good as the work of artist Paul Gauguin. He must have succeeded. Today, Van Gogh is one of the most famous artists of all time. The name of Ludwig van Beethoven's famous song, For Elise, means for Elise in English. But who was the Elise he wrote it for? To this day, nobody knows the answer. Lincoln Center was started in the 1960s to be a place for singers, dancers, musicians, and actors to get together in the heart of New York City.
Ludwig van Beethoven was composing piano music by the time he was a teenager. He wrote 3 sonatas for the harpsichord when he was only 13 years old. Back.
Let's go.
Shh, shh, shh. The Christmas Wish.
Art by Vincent van Gogh. And
music by Ludwig van Beethoven. Hi, I'm Leo. It's Christmas Eve, and I'm going to read my favorite Christmas story. Do you want to hear it? Great! 'Twas Christmas Eve, and one little boy hoped more than anything in the world that Santa would bring him a turtle. That night, Santa came to his house and brought the little boy a present, a Christmas wish box. But when the little boy opened the box, it was empty.
oh no, there's no present in the box.
Just wait, the story's not over yet. The little boy's mother told him, Santa brought you a wish box. You have to make a wish to get your present. So the little boy picked up the wish box, closed his eyes, and wished as hard as he could for a turtle. Wish, I wish a Christmas wish. And this time, the box magically opened, and there was something inside. What do you think it was? Great! Buckle your seatbelts and click on the Let's Go button to start our mission.
Episode titles starting with the letter A to E. Dragon kite.
Edvard Grieg wrote his famous suite number 1 in the Hall of the Mountain King for the play Peer Gynt. But years later, Grieg himself was the subject of a play. The operetta Song of Norway opened on Broadway in 1944 and told the story of Grieg's life.
Saja was born around 1721, the same year that Johann Sebastian Bach composed his famous Brandenburg Concerto. Even though it's a museum today, the Forbidden City used to be home to royalty in China many years ago. It must have been a great place to play hide and seek. There are more than 8,000 rooms in the palace.
Cho Ying painted his art in the early 1500s. Today, he is considered to be one of the 4 great masters of the Ming Dynasty.
K2 is the second highest mountain in the world. Only Mount Everest is higher. While Zozan's 8 views of the Shao and Shang rivers is a painting, it wasn't created on a canvas like most paintings. Zozan painted his masterpiece on 6 panels of a big folding screen more than 5 feet high and 10 feet wide. Zhang Lu is famous for creating his art using ink on paper, silk, or scrolls. Some of his art is black and white, while other paintings use a few colors. The Great Wall of China is the longest man-made structure in the world. In fact, it is so long that you can actually see it from the Earth's orbit up in space. Get ready. Let's go.
Shh, shh, shh. Dragon kite.
Art by Zhou Shan, Zai Jia, Zhong Lu, and Zhou Ying. And
Music by Edvard Grieg.
hello, I'm June. I love to dance. Do you like to dance? Magnificent! I'm practicing my super ballet leap and raising my arms as high as I can. La 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 la. Can you raise your arms high? Let's see. Raise your arms high. Reach for the sky. La 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 la. Wow, that was really high. Do you hear that? It sounds low, really low. Where is that sound coming from? Ah! It's a dragon. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you, little dragon, but I wasn't exactly expecting to meet a dragon in my backyard today. Episode titles starting with the letter A to E. Duck, duck, June.
They may not be able to fly as soon as they hatch from their shells, but baby ducklings are born with sea legs. Ducklings will follow their mother into the water for their first swimming lesson hours after they come out of their shells.
Did you know that the largest group of freshwater lakes in the world is in the United States? That's right. In fact, 20% of the Earth's fresh water is located in the Great Lakes.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born on January 27, 1756, the same year that St. Patrick's Day was celebrated for the first time in New York City.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart wrote his famous horn concertos for his close friend, Joseph Ignaz Leitgeb. Since Joseph's horn didn't have any valves, he changed the notes by changing the shape of his mouth when he blew into the horn.
John Atkinson Grimshaw may have loved trains, but he loved painting even more. When he was 24 years old, he quit his job working for the Great Northern Railway in England to paint full-time.
Growing baby ducks might be cramped inside those eggs, but at least they get plenty of fresh air. If you look closely at a duck egg, you'll see there are tiny holes in the shell for air to pass through. John Atkinson Grimshaw's watercolor on the River Greta was painted in the Lake District on the coast of England, which was a popular vacation place for artists and writers.
Get ready.
Let's go.
Duck, Duck, June.
Art by John Atkinson Grimshaw. And
Music by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
hello, I'm June. We're visiting the Great Lakes today, and I just found the most amazing thing. Do you want to see what it is? Wonderful! Come take a look. It's a mama duck with her eggs.
Let's count the eggs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 eggs. Good counting.
Look! The eggs are moving.
I think something really big is about to happen.
What do you think is going to happen? They're going to hatch? You're right. They're hatching.
Hey, that duck just hatched. Aw, they're cute. Annie, you should take a picture with your camera.
Yeah, good idea, Leo. Episode titles starting with the letter F to J. Farmer Ant. Vincent van Gogh painted his famous painting, The Olive Trees, in 1889, the same year that the Eiffel Tower in Paris opened to the public. Seeds can grow into plants long after a seed is formed. Would you believe that an Arctic lupine seed, more than 10,000 years old, grew into a flower when it was finally planted?
Johann Sebastian Bach might not have made it to outer space, but his music has. The second concerto from Bach's Brandenburg Concertos is part of the collection of music on board the Voyager spacecraft.
Back.
Pigs don't roll around in the mud because they want to be dirty. They do it to protect their skin from the sun. Mud is like sunscreen to a pig, and it also helps to keep pigs cool in hot weather.
Johann Sebastian Bach's Brandenburg Concertos were also called 6 concertos for several instruments, because each one was written to be played by different instruments. People stay healthy and grow by eating things like fruits and vegetables. But since plants can't eat food, they count on the sun's rays. The energy from the sun mixes with the water in the air to make food that helps the plant grow. When that happens, it's called photosynthesis. Back.
Just because it's cloudy outside doesn't always mean it's going to rain. Only certain clouds, like nimbostratus and cumulonimbus, have drops of water that turn into raindrops.
Vincent van Gogh loved the way ancient olive trees looked so much that he made more than a dozen different paintings of them. Please go. Farmer Annie. Art by Vincent van Gogh.
And
Music by Johann Sebastian Bach.
Hold on tight, 'cause here we go. Hi, I'm Annie. Today, we're going to a farm. We're going to see our friends,
the 3 little piggies.
I can't wait to see the 3 little piggies.
Little piggies, here we come.
But how are we going to find them? This is a big farm.
Rocket, put out your look and listen scope.
Are the piggies with the horses? No. The piggies aren't with the horses. Are the piggies with the sheep? No. The piggies aren't with the sheep. Are the piggies near the barn? Where? Yes! There they are!
Rocket, land near the big red barn.
We found you! Episode titles starting with the letter F to J. A Galactic Good Night.
Ludwig van Beethoven wrote his famous composition for Elise in 1810, the same year that composer Robert Schumann was born. If planet Earth were to have a sister, it would be Venus. Even though there is no water on Venus, both Venus and Earth are about the same size, mass, and density.
Uranus is sometimes called the blue planet, but its surface isn't actually blue. Uranus looks blue because of the way the sunlight is absorbed in its atmosphere. If you look at Mars through a telescope, you'll see that it looks red. Mars gets its red color from the soil, which is full of reddish-colored iron oxides. If you lived on Mercury, you'd be either really hot or really cold all the time. The side of Mercury facing the sun is more than 700 degrees Fahrenheit, while the side away from the sun is more than 200 degrees below freezing. You might have known that Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. But did you know that it's so big you could fit 318 planet Earths inside of it?
If you lived on Saturn, the classic bedtime story, Goodnight Moon, would have to be changed to Goodnight Moons. That's because Saturn has 18 different moons.
Neptune is sometimes called the windy planet because winds there can reach more than 1,200 miles per hour. That's more than 4 times the strongest winds ever recorded on Earth. Edvard Munch painted his famous painting, The Scream, in 1893, the same year that the first Flag Day was celebrated in the United States. While other planets may have ice on them, the Earth is the only planet in the solar system that has water on the surface in the form of oceans and seas.
Get ready.
Let's go. A Galactic Good Night. Art by Edvard Munch.
And music by
Ludwig van Beethoven.
Hi, I'm Leo. And guess what? My friends and I are having a sleepover in the rocket room. Woohoo! We all brought our sleeping bags and pillows so we can sleep here with Rocket. That's right, Rocket. It's bedtime. I have a special trick that I do before I fall asleep. Do you want to see what it is? Every night, I turn on my baton nightlight. And that helps me fall asleep.
Oh,
Cool.
I have a sleeping trick too. I always do a sleepy spin before bed. Whee!
Hugging my instruments blanket helps me fall asleep.
And I can't go to sleep until I sing a goodnight song. La 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 la.
What do you do before you go to sleep? Oh, cool. Now we can all go to sleep. Good night.
Episode titles starting with the letter F to J. The Glass Slipper Ball.
When Vienna was founded more than 2,000 years ago, it was a Celtic settlement. Today, it is the capital of Austria and home to more than a quarter of Austria's population. The Danube River is the second longest river in all of Europe. It is 300 miles longer than the Colorado River, and it flows through 9 countries, including Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Romania.
The grounds of Schönbrunn Palace don't just have beautiful gardens, parks, and outdoor mazes, it is also home to the world's oldest zoo, which opened in 1752. The Austrian Alps are part of the European Alps that run through Italy, Switzerland, and France. The highest peak in the Austrian Alps is 12,461 feet, around the same height as the tallest mountain in Idaho.
The Blue Danube Waltz by Johann Strauss is one of the most famous waltzes in the world. It was because of this waltz that Johann Strauss became known throughout the world as the Waltz King. Artist Andy Warhol wasn't just famous for his paintings, he was also famous for his studio. He worked out of a studio called The Factory in New York City, which had some very unusual wallpaper, aluminum foil, and silver paint. Pop artist Andy Warhol loved eating Campbell's soup, but he also loved painting it. Warhol made 32 paintings featuring the well-recognized soup cans between 1961 and 1962. Even though Johann Strauss's composer father wanted his son to be a banker, Johann secretly studied the violin when he was a child and pursued his dream of music. The Glass Slipper Ball. Art, fish, painted by Andy Warhol.
And music.
The Blue Danube Waltz, written by Johann Strauss.
Da, 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 da. Hi, I'm June, and I'm practicing my favorite thing in the whole world, dancing. Do you like to dance? Wonderful! Episode titles starting with the letter F to J. The Good Night and the Bad Night. The Bayeux Tapestry is one piece of art that wouldn't fit in your living room. Although the Bayeux Tapestry is less than 2 feet high, it is 230 feet long. That's more than half the length of a football field.
Before a person could become a knight in the Middle Ages, he had to spend 14 years training as a page and a squire.
Edvard Grieg's Morning Mood from the Peer Gynt Suite No. 1 has been heard in many movies and TV shows.
Edvard Grieg composed Morning Mood from the Peer Gynt Suite No. 1 in 1876, the same year that Alexander Graham Bell made the world's first telephone call. The Bayeux Tapestry isn't actually a tapestry at all. A tapestry is a woven cloth, but the Bayeux Tapestry is an embroidered cloth.
What do knights and firefighters have in common? The armor of a medieval knight weighed 50 pounds. That's about the same weight as a firefighter's coat, hat, boots, and gear.
Even though nobody knows for sure who created the Bayeux tapestry, historians believe it was created more than 900 years ago by many different people working together.
Even though drawbridges didn't become popular until the Middle Ages, when they were used to cross moats, one of the oldest drawbridges was built more than 4,000 years ago in ancient Egypt.
Get ready. Let's go.
The Good Night and the Bad Night. Art by Giovanni Battista Sassi. And the Bayeux Tapestry.
And music by Edvard Grieg. Hi, I'm Leo. But today, you can call me Night Leo. My friends and I are playing Knights.
La 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 la! I'm Night Annie. I'm Night June.
And I'm Night Quincy. We're brave knights who protect kings and queens and castles.
Hark! I hear music. It sounds like a trumpet.
Do you see the trumpet? Oh yeah, here's the trumpet. It's a knight's trumpet.
See if you can play it, Quincy. Incredible! Look at this.
Yeah, look at all these pictures.
The trumpet has a story to tell. Episode titles starting with the letter F to J. Go west, young train.
Georges Bizet was born in 1838 in Paris, France. That's the same year that Samuel Morse showed his telegraph invention to the public for the first time.
Did you know that cactuses have sunglasses? The thousands of spines on a cactus shade different parts of the plant as the sun moves across the sky, just like a pair of sunglasses.
The Grand Canyon was one of the first national parks in America. And while today you'll find it full of tourists, hundreds of years ago, Native Americans lived in the canyon.
L'Arlésienne isn't just the name of a musical suite by Georges Bizet and the play he wrote the music for. It's also the name of one of Vincent van Gogh's paintings.
What was it that made the West so wild? Back when American settlers were exploring the frontier, the Wild West was what they called the part of the country that hadn't been settled yet.
Navajo baskets are used for things like holding special objects and food. They might also be flipped over and used as a drum.
The first steam train to ever ride on a commercial railroad track was named Tom Thumb. Tom Thumb took its first railroad voyage in 1830. Basket weaving is one of the oldest Native American crafts there is. Navajo baskets are usually made from yucca fibers, that are coiled around in a black, white, and red pattern.
Get ready.
Let's go.
Shh.
Go west, young train. Art. Navajo baskets.
And music by George Bizet.
Whoa! Rocket is a bucking bronco.
Ride 'em, cowboy.
Whee! Yeehaw! Howdy, partner. I'm Annie. Say, do you like my cowgirl hat? That's great. My friends and I came to the Wild West today. We're looking for a really good friend of mine, Little Red Train.
I think I hear him. Hold up, Rocket.
Do you see my friend, Little Red Train? Yeah! There he is!
Rocket, land down there.
Howdy, Little Red Train. How have you been? Whoa, what's that?
Yeah, guys, check out the size of that bag. Little Red Train, how can you carry such a big bag?
Little Red Train may be little, but he's mighty strong. Right, Little Red Train? Episode titles starting with the letter F to J.
How we became the Little Einsteins, the true story. Antonin Dvorak was from Eastern Europe, but he moved to America where he taught music to students who eventually became music teachers to Duke Ellington and George Gershwin.
If you lived in Venice, Italy, you wouldn't need a car, but you would need a boat. Venice is a city made up of small islands connected by more than 150 water canals. Can a house made of snow and ice really keep an Eskimo warm? Believe it or not, the inside of an igloo is as warm as 55 degrees Fahrenheit, even if it's freezing outside.
Back.
John Singer Sargent must have had a very steady hand. He loved painting his Venice watercolors while sitting on boats in the canal. Before he started painting landscapes, John Singer Sargent was one of the most popular portrait painters in the world. He painted portraits of lots of famous people, like President Woodrow Wilson and author Robert Louis Stevenson.
Antonin Dvorak was born in Czechoslovakia in 1841, the same year that the first wagon train of settlers arrived in California.
There are 7 special musical bells in the top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and each one is tuned to one of the 7 notes of the scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti.
Painter John Singer Sargent worked from dusk to dawn and hardly ever took any days off from painting. From 1877 and 1925, he painted almost 3,000 paintings.
Get ready.
Let's go.
How we became the Little Einsteins, the true story.
Art by John Singer Sargent. And
Music by Antonin Dvorak. Hi, I'm Leah, and this is my younger sister Annie, and my friends Quincy and June. This is my room, and this is my photo album, where I keep all my pictures, even my baby pictures. Do you want to see my baby pictures?
oh, Leo, you are a cute baby.
Hey, check out that rocket on your baby mobile. Cool. Yeah, I love that rocket. He zipped around and around while the mobile played his rocket song.
We're on our way. The mission of the day starts when we say rocket.
Wait a minute. I've seen that baby mobile before. I found it! Way to go, Annie.
Yes, my mobile.
But look, Rocket is missing.
I wonder where he went.
Maybe he flew off somewhere.
Episode titles starting with the letter F to J.
Hungarian hiccup.
Have you ever had hiccups that just wouldn't go away? While being surprised or scared sometimes works, other people try holding their breath or putting sugar under their tongue to get rid of the hiccups.
Henri Rousseau's painting, Tropical Storm with a Tiger, has a nickname. Surprised! It was the first painting he ever made in his Jungle series.
Cymbals have been around longer than just about any other orchestra instrument. The first cymbals were used in the Middle Ages. That's more than 1,500 years ago.
When the Roman Colosseum was built 2,000 years ago, the stadium could hold up to 50,000 people. Today, you won't find any people, but you will find a lot of cats. It's true. More than 2,000 cats call the Roman Colosseum home.
Can 4 hands play on one piano? Absolutely. That's what Johannes Brahms wanted when he wrote the Hungarian dances. 2 people, each with 2 hands, playing together on the same piano.
Even though Henri Rousseau is most famous for his jungle paintings, he never actually saw a jungle in real life. He got ideas for his art in books, magazines, zoos, and gardens.
In December 1889, Johannes Brahms made history by being the first famous musician to have his voice recorded. He spoke and played his Hungarian dance for Thomas Edison's new invention, the cylinder recorder. Old Faithful at Yellowstone National Park is one of the most famous geysers in the whole world. Old Faithful goes off every 20 to 30 minutes and shoots hot water more than 5 stories into the air.
Get ready. Let's go. Shh. Hungarian hiccups.
Art by Henri Rousseau. And
Johannes Brahms.
Way to go, Rocket! This is spectacular! Great flying, Rocket! Yeehaw!
Hi, I'm Leo, and this is our best friend, Rocket. Today, Rocket is going to be in the Great Sky Race. Rocket, there's the starting line. Whoa, look at the planes.
And jets! And helicopters! We know you're gonna win, Rocket.
You're the fastest, coolest rocket ever. Rocket is really, really fast. Are you fast? Wow. Rocket is singing his special race song.
Hooray for
Rocket!
La 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 la. What's the matter, Rocket?
Oh no! Look at that big jet!
Episode titles starting with the letter F to J.
I love to conduct.
They might be tiny when they're born, but bald eagle chicks don't stay that way for long. Even though they weigh only a few ounces when they break out of their shell, in less than 2 months, they're as heavy as a bowling ball.
Mount St. Helens blew its top when it erupted in 1980. Since then, a new lava dome has been building at the top of the volcano, and it continues to spit out ash or gas almost every day.
The redwood forest is home to some of the world's tallest and oldest trees. They can grow more than 20 stories high, and a birthday cake for some trees would need more than 2,000 candles.
Edvard Grieg first wrote the song Morning Mood as background music in playwright Henrik Ibsen's play Peer Gynt. Today, the song has become even more popular than the play it was written for.
Would you believe that there are wolves in the ocean? That's what some people call orca whales because they like to hang out with large groups of other whales. But while wolves travel in packs, orca whales travel in pods.
Bald eagles build their nests high up in the trees along lakes and rivers so they can spot fish below with their excellent eyesight. The scene of animals and people together in Edward Hicks' The Peaceable Kingdom is based on a story from the book of Isaiah in the Old Testament.
Edward Hicks liked his painting, The Peaceable Kingdom, so much that he painted it over and over again. Hicks painted at least 60 different versions of his famous painting.
Edvard Grieg loved to be alone when he wrote his music, so he built a tiny one-room cabin in the woods where he could compose in the peace and quiet of nature. Let's go. Shh, shh, shh. I love to conduct. Art by Edward Hicks.
And music by Edvard Grieg. up really early today.
Before the sun. Did you ever see the sun come up? The sunrise is so beautiful.
We're going to play music to wake up the sun.
I'm going to sing. La la la, la la la, la 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 la. I'm going to dance.
And I'm going to do my favorite thing in the whole world. I'm going to conduct.
Leo, do you have your baton?
I'd never go anywhere without it.
La 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 la. Episode titles starting with the letter F to J. The Incredible Shrinking Adventure. What faces the sun all day long but never wears sunglasses? The bud of a sunflower. Every morning, a sunflower bud faces east to greet the rising sun, and when the sun goes down, it will be facing west.
Ants don't live in the anthills we see above ground. They live underground. As ants hollow out their underground tunnels, they take the dirt up to the entrance so it doesn't slide back down, and that's what makes the anthill. Antonio Vivaldi wrote his famous composition, The Four Seasons, Spring Allegra, in 1723, 9 years before George Washington, the first president of the United States, was born.
Vincent van Gogh painted 4 versions of his famous painting, Sunflowers, to decorate artist Paul Gauguin's room. The 2 artists were friends and painted together in the same studio in the south of France. Bumblebees have to flap their tiny wings very fast to fly, but that's not what makes the familiar buzzing sound of a bee. The buzz of a bumblebee actually comes from the sound of their breathing, which they do through the holes in their belly called spiracles.
The original cuckoo clocks were believed to have been invented in Germany in the 1700s, and the sound of the alarm was actually made to sound like the call of the common cuckoo bird.
Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers is one of his most famous paintings. Van Gogh painted it in 1888, the same year that the Washington Monument was opened in Washington, D.C.
Ants might be tiny, but that doesn't mean they're weak. Ants can lift up to 20 times their own body weight. If you could lift 20 times your body weight, that would mean you could carry 2 big gorillas.
City. Let's go. The Incredible Shrinking Adventure. Art by Vincent van Gogh.
And music by Antonio Vivaldi. Hi, I'm Leo. My friends and I are playing in the Rocket Room. This is one of our favorite places to play. Where's your favorite place to play? That sounds like fun. but I can barely hear it. It's coming from over there.
Listen, the music is coming from that cool-looking machine.
I've never seen a machine like this before.
It's spinning and making music. Whoa! The machine changed Annie's bouncy ball. What happened to my bouncy ball? The machine made my ball really big.
Whoa! That is awesome!
We found a machine that makes things big. Episode titles starting with the letter F to J.
Jump for Joey!
People eat with a spoon and a fork. But would you believe that a rainbow lorikeet eats with a paintbrush? The tip of a rainbow lorikeet's tongue is like a paintbrush, which helps it get its dinner, a pollen and nectar from flowers.
Koala bears may be soft and cuddly like a teddy bear, but they're actually not bears at all. Koalas are related to kangaroos and wombats, partly because they have a pouch where they carry their babies. Georges Bizet's song La Toreadors from the opera Carmen was first performed in 1875, the same year that a famous horse race, the Kentucky Derby, was held for the first time.
Some Aboriginal art is more than 30,000 years old, but Aboriginal artists still make rock carvings, rock or cave paintings, and body paintings today.
Emus may not be able to fly, but that doesn't mean they can't get to places fast. Emus have long legs just like ostriches, and this helps them run up to 40 miles an hour.
Pelicans are easy to recognize because of the big pouch hanging from their beaks. A pelican's pouch can hold up to 5 gallons of water. That's about the same amount of water you can fit in your kitchen sink. The whole world had a chance to see Aboriginal art and dance in the year 2000. Aboriginal art and dancing was featured in the opening ceremony of the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney, Australia.
Did you know that the word kangaroo actually means I don't know in Aboriginal? When the English first settled in Australia, they asked the Aboriginals what the strange jumping animal was. The Aboriginals answered kangaroo, and the name stuck.
When the Sydney Opera House opened in 1973, Queen Elizabeth II flew all the way from England to be there. And even though Ludwig van Beethoven wasn't there, his music was. Symphony No. 9 was performed on opening night.
Get ready.
Let's go.
Jump for Joey!
With Aboriginal art. And
music by Georges Bizet. Hi, I'm Quincy. My friends and I are flying to Australia. We're going to the Sydney Opera House to see the Animal Talent Show. show is where all the animals do their most special tricks. Do you want to see the animals do special tricks? Great! The Animal Talent Show must be starting soon.
Yes, the animals are already on their way. See? Those pelicans are going to the Animal Talent Show. Wow, what graceful flying.
Flying must be the pelican's special talent for the talent show.
Yay, pelicans! Whoa, look at those emus!
Emus run fast. That must be their special talent for the talent show.
Yay, emus!
Episode titles starting with the letter K to O.
Knock on wood.
Even though they're called mountains, the Ozark Mountains are really a dissected plateau. The area used to be one big flat highland that was eroded by rivers and creeks to create the jagged mountain-like formation.
They may not fly south for the winter, but rattlesnakes migrate every year too. Rattlesnakes travel up to a few miles to return to their den each winter, where they hibernate until the warm weather returns in spring.
George Inness loved nature and wanted to show its hidden spirit in landscapes like Pool in the Woods, which he painted in 1886.
George Inness became known as the best landscape artist in America in the 1800s. Before he studied painting, he earned money as a teenager by engraving maps.
Just because an alligator has its mouth open doesn't mean it's hungry or looking to bite. Alligators can cool off or heat up their body by letting in air through their mouths.
Ivory-billed woodpeckers disappeared in 1944, and biologists thought they were extinct because so many of the forests where they had lived have been logged away. But after several sightings in 2004, scientists now believe the bird isn't extinct after all.
Can a forest grow underwater? Yes! Swamps are actually wetlands that are full of woody trees and other vegetation, both above and below the surface. They're also home to lots of animals like crayfish, alligators, frogs, and birds.
Johann Sebastian Bach wrote his famous Orchestral Suite, number 2 in B minor, in 1721. A year before, he published a book of his keyboard music called The Well-Tempered Clavier.
Let's go.
Shh, shh, shh. Knock on wood.
Art by George Inness. And
Music by Johann Sebastian Bach. Hi, I'm Leo, and I'm playing with my friends. Annie, June, Quincy, and Rocket. Do you like to play with your friends? Me too. We're playing in the big woods of Arkansas.
Listen, someone is drumming just like Quincy.
I hear it too.
I wonder who's doing that.
Who's making that music? Yeah, that bird. It's a woodpecker.
There he is.
No, he's over there.
Now he's on that tree. Episode titles starting with the letter K to O.
The Legend of the Golden Pyramid.
Johannes Brahms liked Hungarian dances so much that he wrote 21 of them, each between 1 and 4 minutes long. Hungarian dance number 5 in G minor is the most famous of the 21 dances.
The body of an ancient sphinx is always that of a lion sitting down, but the heads are of different animals, like rams or birds. The Great Sphinx of Giza is the most famous sphinx, and it has the head of a human being on top of the lion's body.
The English alphabet has 26 letters to get to know, but students learning hieroglyphics had to learn more than 700 letters. Each letter was actually a small picture which stood for a word or an idea. The Nile River is the longest river in the world, and if it were in the United States, it could flow all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast and still have room to spare.
Even though Johannes Brahms was from Germany, he loved the music of Hungarian gypsies, and he used their melodies as inspiration for his famous Hungarian dance series.
The harp has been around for thousands of years, making it the oldest string instrument there is. In fact, rock paintings in France that are more than 17,000 years old show an instrument that looks like a harp. The first hieroglyphics weren't written down in a notebook or on a piece of paper. They were actually carved onto the sides of buildings and structures. The Great Golden Pyramid isn't just the largest pyramid, it's also among the oldest. In fact, the Golden Pyramid is the only one of the 7 ancient wonders that is still standing. Let's go.
Shh. The Legend of the Golden Pyramid.
With ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. And
Music by Johannes Brahms.
Hi, I'm Quincy. My friends and I are doing art projects. I'm making something out of blocks. Do you want to see what I made? Great! I made giant pyramids and ancient statues.
amazing.
Cool, Quincy.
I wish I could go somewhere that has giant pyramids and ancient statues.
But you can go, Annie. The ancient statues and giant pyramids are in Egypt.
In Egypt? Wow!
If only we had some way to get all the way to Egypt. we'd need someone who could fly us there. Do you see someone who could fly us to Egypt? Yeah, a rocket could do it. Let's go to Egypt. Come on. Welcome aboard.
Buckle your seatbelts. Episode titles starting with the letter K to O. A Little Einsteins Halloween.
Composer Edvard Grieg was born in Norway in 1843, the same year that Charles Dickens published his famous play, A Christmas Carol. If you think you've seen the Neuschwanstein Castle before, you're probably right. Walt Disney used the beautiful German castle as the inspiration for Sleeping Beauty's castle at Disneyland. Irma, Paul, and Johann de Lambour were experts at painting in miniature. Their painting, September, measures only 8 inches by 8 inches. That's smaller than a piece of construction paper.
Medieval castles, built of stone and wood, were everywhere in Europe during the Middle Ages. Kings and lords built castles to house their families and protect the people who lived in their kingdoms.
Because of the huge number of piano compositions Edvard Grieg wrote, he was given the nickname Chopin of the North. Buckingham Palace used to be called Buckingham House. It was just a large townhouse in London until King George bought it in 1703. Today, Buckingham Palace has over 600 rooms.
September, by the Lambour brothers, is an illustration from a calendar book called the Book of Hours. Today, the Book of Hours is one of the most valuable books in the whole world.
The Palace of Versailles is a royal chateau outside of Paris. The Hall of Mirrors is the most famous room in the palace, and inside you'll find more than 350 huge mirrors hung around the room.
Get ready. Let's go. A Little Einsteins Halloween.
Art by the Lambour brothers. And
music by Edvard Grieg. Boom! Hi, I'm Leo. Today's Halloween, and my friends and I are having a costume party. Do you want to come to our Halloween costume party? Great! Party! 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 We're inviting all of our friends, and everyone is going to wear a costume.
we just need one more thing for the Halloween costume party. Halloween treats. We have to fill our pumpkin to the top with raisins and pretzels and candy for the party.
But where will we get all those treats from? Yeah! Rocket is going to help us. He can take us trick-or-treating at the biggest castles and palaces in the world. A medieval castle. Buckingham get Halloween treats from all 4 of those places, we'll have enough for our
Episode titles starting with the letter K to O.
The Missing Invitation. Oklahoma has a lot of big caves, but the longest cave in the world is actually in Kentucky. Mammoth Cave has more than 360 miles of underground passages.
The world first heard Ludwig van Beethoven's famous composition, Ode to Joy, in 1824, the same year that John Quincy Adams was elected President of the United States.
Monarch butterflies beat their wings really slowly compared to most other flies, only 5 to 20 times each second. But just because they flap their wings slowly doesn't mean they don't get far. Monarch butterflies fly thousands of miles in only a few months when they migrate. If you live in New York City and want to leave the country, just walk over to the United Nations. Even though the UN building is in America, it is considered international territory. It even has its own fire department and postal service.
It's no wonder the tree branches in Angangueo, Mexico, sag from the weight of the monarchs resting on them. More than 100 million butterflies make the quaint mountain town their winter home. Navajo women have been weaving blankets and rugs in unique designs since the 1800s. They traditionally wove them to trade at trading posts.
Claude Monet isn't the only artist with a painting called Young Woman in Garden. French Impressionist Edouard Manet painted a painting with the same name in 1880.
The force of the water rushing down Niagara Falls is so strong that it's used to create power through hydroelectricity. But all that water was actually stopped in 1969 by a temporary dam so researchers could study rocks at the top of the falls.
Video.
Get ready.
Let's go. The Missing Invitation. Art by Claude Monet and the Navajo Woven Art.
And
Music by Ludwig van Beethoven. Hi, we're the Little Einstein team.
We came here to find our friend Butterfly. Do you see Butterfly? Yeah, there he is. Say hi, Butterfly. Hi, Butterfly. He's singing his special song. It's beautiful.
whoa, listen to that.
There's somebody else singing Butterfly's special song. Who could it be? Look, look, look. It's a monarch butterfly mail carrier.
He's got a big bag of mail.
Whoa, look! Everyone is getting mail. Do you like getting mail? Me too. The butterflies are all getting invitations.
Ooh, the butterflies are invited to go on an exciting trip.
I know, they're my...
Episode titles starting with the letter K to O.
The Mouse and the Moon.
The word nightingale means singer of the night. The song nightingales sing is so beautiful that poets have written about it.
Owls might not make the same facial expressions as we do, but you can still tell what they're feeling by looking at them. A curious owl bobs its head up and down. A scared owl pulls in his feathers. And a relaxed owl will let his feathers all hang out. If you ever travel to the moon, don't worry about packing your raincoat and umbrella. There is no weather on the moon because it has no atmosphere. That means no rain, no snow, not even any wind.
A gondola is a cable car or lift that hangs high above the ground and carries people up and down the side of a mountain. But it can also mean a boat that's used in the water canals of Venice, Italy. The earliest mosaics were made in ancient Greece thousands of years ago as decoration for the inside of houses and buildings. The Greeks used small pebbles to make art of people or animals. Ancient Roman mosaics were created more than 4,000 years ago. Many of the Roman mosaics decorated the floors of villas and were made out of pieces of marble, stone, or pottery.
The Matterhorn in Switzerland is one of the most famous mountains in the world. It is especially hard to climb because of its steep rock faces and the unexpected snowstorms that can appear on the mountaintop. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart finished his musical masterpiece, Eine kleine Nachtmusik, in 1787, the same year that the Constitution of the United States was written.
Back. Video. Let's go. The Mouse and the Moon. Art. Ancient Greek and Roman mosaics.
And music by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Hi, I'm Quincy. It's nighttime. My friends and I are camping out. Look, Rocket made a tent for us.
Hi. Hello.
Hi there. June brought her telescope so we could look at the stars and the moon. But where is the moon? Do you see the moon? Where? Yeah, there's the moon.
Wow, the moon looks marvelous.
I wish the moon could see us. Hello, moon. Look at me. I'm Quincy.
I don't think the moon can hear you, Quincy. The moon is very far away.
Maybe the moon will hear me if I play my violin. Look at that, it worked! The moon sees Quincy!
Quincy, the moon is saying hi to you. Hooray! Do it again, Quincy. Yeah, we want the moon to see us. See the moon, I hope the moon sees me. See the moon, I hope
Episode titles starting with the letter K to O.
The Northern Nightlight.
Like many polar animals, the coat of a snowy owl changes color from brown in the warm months to white in the winter, so the owl can blend in with the snow and stay out of sight of the predator.
The farmhouse Claude Monet painted in Road from San Simeon belonged to another artist, Eugene Baudin. Monet, Baudin, and other famous artists spent time living and painting together at the farmhouse in Normandy. Reindeer shed their heavy fur coats every year, but that's not the only thing they lose. Reindeer have large antlers that fall off each winter, and they grow new ones every spring. Claude Monet loved to see how the different lighting changed the way the subjects in his paintings looked. So he would paint the same scene over and over again at different times of the day or year.
Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov's song, The Flight of the Bumblebee, was written for a Russian opera called The Tale of Tsar Sultan. It tells the story of a prince who becomes a bumblebee so he can visit his father without being seen. If you think winter is long where you live, try living in the Arctic tundra. Once October rolls around, the tundra won't see sunlight again until early March.
It's freezing in the Arctic during the winter, but animals who live there have special tools to keep them warm. Arctic foxes have small and round ears, so they don't lose any extra body heat, and their short, bushy tails keep them warm on the ice.
Even though he loved music, Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov gave up his dream of composing when he was 18 years old and sailed around the world with the Russian Navy. But even though there were no instruments on board, Nikolai composed part of a symphony while living on the ship.
City.
Let's go. Shh, shh, shh. The Northern Nightlight.
Art by Claude Monet. And
Music by Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov.
I'm Quincy, and I just made up a really silly song. Do you want to hear it?
yeah. Sing it, Quincy. Sing it.
Okay, get ready to laugh. Flubba dubba da dubba da dubba 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 da dubba dub. Flubba dubba da dubba da dubba 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 da dubba dub.
Do it again, Quincy.
All right, this time I'm going to make a really silly face. Ready? Flubba dubba da dubba da dubba 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 da dubba dub. Flubba dubba da dubba da dubba 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 da dubba dub.
Episode titles starting with the letter K to O.
Oh yes, it's springtime.
Windmills were invented more than 1,000 years ago. Back then, they were used to grind up grains and pump water. Today, they're called wind turbines, and they can make electricity. Even though Holland is famous for its tulip fields, they were first brought to Holland by the Turkish in the 1600s. Back then, some types of tulip bulbs were so rare and valuable that they were worth more than a house.
Antonio Vivaldi's dad was a professional violinist. Maybe that's why he wrote his famous concertos, The Four Seasons, to be played on the violin. Today, The Four Seasons is one of the most popular pieces of classical music.
France's King Louis XV loved Antonio Vivaldi's composition, Spring from the Four Seasons. And since he was the king, he could hear it any time he wanted. All he had to do was order the song to be performed.
We might put on more layers in autumn, but many trees shed their leaves when the weather gets colder. Leaves lose their green color and fall off the trees in the fall because the days are shorter and they don't get as much energy from the sun.
Utagawa Hiroshige carved the image for mountains and river of Kiso into a block of wood and then made a print from the wood block. Hiroshige made more than 5,000 prints from his different wood blocks. Japanese artist Utagawa Hiroshige was a ukiyo-e master. Ukiyo-e means pictures of the floating world, and it's a special kind of Japanese art.
Before lighthouses were built to warn ships sailing at night of rocks and shoals in the water, people lit fires along the top of cliffs to help boats see the shore.
Let's go.
Oh yes, it's springtime!
Art by Utagawa Hiroshige. And
music by Antonio Vivaldi. Hi, I'm Quincy, and this is Baby Tulip. Say hi, Baby Tulip. Baby Tulip is excited because it's springtime. That's Baby Tulip's favorite season. Spring is the time for Baby Tulip to bloom. You like springtime? All right.
I love springtime.
My friends and I are bringing Baby Tulip to springtime in the Netherlands so he can bloom with all the other tulips.
I see tulips. Oh, how gorgeous.
Wow! They sure grow a lot of tulips in the Netherlands. Baby Tulip, you're gonna have a lot of friends, buddy.
Episode title starting with the letter P to T. Pirate's Treasure.
Paul Gauguin wasn't just a master with paint and a brush. He was also a well-known woodcutter, printmaker, and potter.
Nautical whistles are actually called boatswain's pipes, and they've been used on boats for hundreds of years. The high-pitched noise they make is perfect for being heard over the sound of wind, storms, or other things going on aboard the ship. Paul Gauguin was born in France, but he eventually moved to the Tahitian Islands, where he painted the local scenery. While there, Gauguin built a cabin called House of Joy to live in on the island of Dominique. Georges Bizet took piano lessons from his parents when he was very young, and he got to be so good that he was admitted to the Paris Conservatory to study music when he was only 10 years old.
Georges Bizet wrote his first symphony when he was only 17 years old. But it's his opera, Carmen, that he's most famous for. Even though Carmen was written more than 100 years ago, you can still find it being performed all over the world today. So do real pirates use treasure maps? No. In fact, the idea of a treasure map where X marks the spot comes from Robert Louis Stevenson's famous book, Treasure Island.
If you take a close look at Katsushika Hokusai's woodblock print under the wave off Kanagawa, you'll see Mount Fuji in the background. The print is actually part of a series of 36 wood blocks called 36 Views of Mount Fuji. We know that waves end at the beach, but where do they begin? Waves build up in the middle of the ocean, where they form because of the wind. The size of a wave depends on how long the wind blows and how much open water it has blown across. Let's go.
Shh, shh, shh. Pirate's Treasure!
Art by Katsushika Hokusai and Paul Gauguin. And
music by Georges Bizet. Ahoy, me hearties! We're playing in the rocket room. And look what we found! Pirate costumes! I'm Pirate Quincy. Arrgh! Arrgh!
I'm Pirate June. Yo ho ho. I'm Pirate Annie. Arrgh. Hee hee hee.
And I'm Captain Leo. Do you like playing pirates? Can you say, yo ho ho? Arrgh! You're good at that, matey.
Do you hear that?
It's music.
It's so pretty.
It's coming from over there. I think the music is coming from this piece of paper. Whoa!
Episode title starting with the letter P to T.
Quincy and the Magic Instruments.
Russian composer Peter Tchaikovsky not only wrote the music for Swan Lake, but he composed scores to the ballets The Sleeping Beauty and The Nutcracker as well. Peter Tchaikovsky was hired to write the music for Swan Lake by Russian director Vladimir Begachev, who paid him 800 rubles, about the same value as $550 today.
Hot air balloons may have been invented by human beings, but the first creatures to take flight in one in 1783 were animals, a sheep, a duck, and a rooster.
The Thar Desert is sometimes called the Great Indian Desert, and it covers nearly 20,000 square miles in India and Pakistan. That's almost as big as the state of West Virginia. The Arabian Sea is part of the Indian Ocean, and in some places it is nearly 3 miles deep. This sea is full of fish like tuna, mackerel, and sardines.
Gustave Courbet is known as one of the fathers of European Impressionism, partly because of his paintings like The Wave, painted in 1869.
The Thar Desert is the 7th largest desert in the world, and while the temperature can be frigid in the winter, it gets hotter than 120 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer.
French painter Gustave Courbet taught himself to paint by studying the paintings of the masters hanging in the Louvre and trying to copy their work. Quincy and the Magic Instruments. Art: The Wave, painted by Gustave Courbet.
And music.
Swan Lake, written by Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky.
Hey, it's me, Quincy, and I'm in my room practicing my instruments. Do you like to play instruments? Me too. I love playing instruments more than anything in the whole world. Huh? Listen to that. I hear music. I wonder where it's coming from. Whoa! Where did this box come from? I think there's something magical in this box. I wonder what's inside. Wow! Magic instruments! I cannot believe it! I found a box full of magic instruments in my closet.
Episode title starting with the letter P to T. Ring around the planet.
The rocks floating around in space called asteroids aren't round. Most asteroids are shaped like ovals and dumbbells.
You won't find Gustav Klimt's painting, Tree of Life, hanging in any museum. That's because it's actually painted on the dining room wall of a palace in Belgium. Being weightless in space isn't the only thing that happens to your body when there's no gravity. Astronauts actually grow a couple of inches taller while they're in space.
Composer Antonin Dvorak's Symphony No. 9 is also called the New World Symphony. Maybe that's why astronaut Neil Armstrong brought a recording of it into space for the first moon landing in 1969.
Back.
Gold and silver isn't just for jewelry. If you look closely at the painting, Tree of Life, you'll see that Gustav Klimt used pieces of thin foil made of real gold and silver in his art. Saturn is one of the largest planets in the galaxy. But would you believe that it's also the lightest? That's because Saturn is mostly made up of gas. In fact, you can't stand on Saturn because there's no real surface to step on.
Even though Saturn's rings look like they're solid circles, a closer look shows that they're really made up of big and small chunks of ice floating around the planet.
Composer Antonin Dvorak didn't just love to write music. He was also a big fan of trains, and he spent hours and hours watching them come and go at the railroad station.
Let's go.
Shh, shh, shh. Ring around the planet.
Art by Gustav Klimt. And
Music by Antonin Dvorak.
hello, I'm June. I love looking at the stars. Do you like looking at the stars? Wonderful. Come look through my telescope. Isn't it spectacular? The galaxy is so sparkly. Look, it's Saturn. What a beautiful planet. It has rings. I'm dancing with Saturn. Episode title starting with the letter P to T.
Rocket Safari! When Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov played music, he didn't just hear notes, he also saw colors. Rimsky-Korsakov had a rare condition called synesthesia, where stimulating one of the five senses, like hearing, creates a response in another sense, like sight.
If you see a group of wildebeests grazing when you're on a safari, don't make any loud noises. When wildebeests get startled, they can stampede, running together in a huge group at up to 50 miles an hour.
When Albrecht Dürer created his work of art, Rhinoceros, he had never even seen a rhino in real life. Dürer used a rough sketch and notes from people who had seen a rhinoceros to inspire his art. Is the rhinoceros's horn actually a really long fingernail? Not really, but the horn is made up of the same substance, called keratin, that our hair and fingernails are made of.
What do giraffes and camels have in common? Well, they can both get by without having water to drink every day. Giraffes are able to live off the water they find in the green leaves they eat.
Giraffes aren't the only ones who eat food from the branches of trees. Elephants use their trunks to grab a hold of branches and shake food loose. If they're really hungry, they'll even pull the whole tree down. Is there such a thing as a wooden rhinoceros? There is when you're talking about Albert Durer's rhinoceros. Instead of painting on canvas, Durer used a technique called woodcutting, which means he engraved the rhinoceros into a piece of wood.
Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov didn't only compose music for himself. He taught others how to do it too. One of his most famous students was Igor Stravinsky, who went on to become one of the most important composers of the 20th century.
Living in Africa can get pretty hot for hippos, which is why they spend most of their day hanging out in the water to stay cool. But for extra protection against the sun, would you believe they put on sunscreen? It's true. The skin of a hippopotamus sweats out a natural sunscreen. Let's go. Shh. Rocket Safari. Art by Albert Durer. And
Music by Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov. Hey, I'm Leo. And guess what? Rocket's taking us on a safari to Africa. Come on. We're going to see all kinds of animals.
whoa, those are rhinoceroses.
Cool. Look at all the zebras. Awesome.
Wow! Elephants!
Do you like animals? Really? What animals do you like? Ooh, I like those too.
Rocket's ready for blast off.
Buckle your seatbelts. Seatbelt buckle. Prepare for blast off. We're going to need a lot of power to blast off. Pat, 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 pat. June is patting. Quincy's patting. Annie's patting. But we need more power. Put your hands on your lap and pat with us. Pat, 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 pat. Faster. Pat, 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 pat.
Episode title starting with the letter P to T.
A tall totem tail. Much of the light and playful music in Johann Sebastian Bach's Orchestral Suite No. 2 in B minor was written for the transverse flute, which is the sideways flute most commonly used today.
No one knows for sure when the first totem poles were made, but many people believe it was in the 1800s. Back then, some totem poles were taller than a 4-story building. Totem poles aren't just beautiful to look at, you can read them too. The stories on totem poles are passed down from parents to their children, and they can be read like a book or a poem.
Don't give a seal earrings for her birthday because she won't have anywhere to wear them. Most seals don't have any ears on the outside of their body. Even so, seals can still hear as well as we can when they're on land, and even better when they're underwater.
Even though most of Johann Sebastian Bach's music was written to be played in churches, his Orchestral Suite No. 2 in B minor is music to dance and celebrate to.
Many of the totem poles of the Pacific Northwest are carved by Native Americans out of giant cedar trees. The word totem means symbol, and each family is represented by a different symbol on the totem pole.
Can polar bears be invisible? No, but their fur can be. A polar bear's fur is hollow and see-through. The fur only looks white when sunlight hits it. The blue whale is the largest animal on the planet. In fact, when a blue whale is born, it weighs 50 tons. That's as heavy as 25 cars.
Ice caves are also called glacier caves, and they're kind of like big freezers. The temperature in an ice cave is always below 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Get ready. Let's go. A tall totem tail.
Art. Pacific Northwest totem poles. And
music by Johann Sebastian Bach. Hi, I'm Quincy. Today, my friends and I are exploring in Alaska. We're looking for totem poles. They look like this. They're so cool. Have you ever seen a totem pole? Well, let's go look for one. That sounds like a totem pole. Follow me. We found the totem poles. It's a totem pole forest.
the totem poles are singing and dancing.
This totem pole is singing his story for us. It's a story about a big bear who stole the sunshine.
Ooh.
Episode titles starting with the letter U to Z. Whale tail.
How would we get around without our bones to support our bodies? Ask a sea anemone. They have no skeleton. While they spend most of their life attached to rocks and coral, they can slowly slide from place to place if they need to get somewhere.
The Great Barrier Reef off the coast of Australia is so long it can be seen from outer space. Since the reef is made up of living coral, many people call it the longest living organism in the whole world. When Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart wrote his horn concertos, the French horn hadn't been invented yet. And since the horns in Mozart's days didn't have any valves, the only way to change the note was for the player to change the shape of his mouth. Are pufferfish full of hot air? When puffers or blowfish blow themselves up, they're actually filling their bodies with water, not air.
If you look closely at Georges Pierre Seurat's painting, The Shore of Bas-Buntan-en-Fleur, you'll see that the picture is actually made up of tiny little dots Seurat dabbed onto the canvas. His unique way of painting soon became known as pointillism.
Georges Pierre Seurat spent his winters in Paris, where he'd work on one big painting all season long. Then, when summer came, he'd head to the beach, where he'd paint a lot of smaller paintings, like the scene he painted in The Shore of Bas-Boutin en Fleurs.
All of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's concertos were numbered, and there are more than 500 of them. The numbers start with the letter K, followed by a number. Mozart's Horn Concerto No. 2 in E-flat is numbered K417.
What does a French horn and your small intestine have in common? If you were to uncoil all the tubing in a French horn, you'd have a horn that was as long as your small intestine, more than 20 feet long.
Let's go.
Shh, shh, shh. Whale tail.
Art by Georges Seurat. And
Music by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Hi, I'm Leo, and we're at the seashore. Do you like to go to the seashore? Great! We all came. Me, my sister Annie, Quincy, June, and Rocket. Rocket? Hey, where did Rocket go? Do you see Rocket?
yeah, there he is. Look, he's playing with someone in the water.
Who is he playing with? A whale! Wow! I cannot believe it! Rocket made friends with a whale!
That's a little humpback whale.